Hi, it's Florian, and in this video I'm going to talk about China, or more specifically about companies leaving China and the reasons behind it. So as you all might know, more and more companies are trying to leave China, producing stuff elsewhere, trying to diversify their portfolio. Um, you might have heard that companies like Nike, Adidas, Puma, so all the clothes companies, or also Apple, Samsung, LG, the electronic companies, Intel, Dell, HP, Nintendo, all of those companies are leaving or have already left China for all of their production or parts of their production. Also, car manufacturers like Kia and Hyundai left China. And the question is, why do they do that? So, why is there currently a move away from China that has been towards China for the last decades? And there are a few reasons behind it. Some you might know and some you might not know. There is, of course, currently a lot of political distress and instability in China. So they have a leader that leads by himself without a lot of people objecting him. So there is just one opinion. They have COVID lockdowns that seem a bit randomly from our perspective, that have a huge impact on supply chains. And of course, companies don't want to have that for their supply chain. You want to buy your shoes, you want to buy your computers. And if you can't ship them, that's a huge problem. But also, the long term problems that China is facing have an impact on companies' decisions. China has a very aging population. So China will have at some time point a lot of retirees, and that time point is not far away, and very low new young people coming after them. So they will have a problem there. They have also a problem that people need to obey. Basically, they have a social point system, which might not be compatible to the ESG requirements that some companies have. So the requirements to be socially, environmentally, and governance responsible. That's also something that might prevent companies from staying in China. China also has something called common prosperity, which means that they urge companies to donate money to the state, which is kind of a tax, but not called a tax, so that they can support the society. There's also something that's happening. And of course, lastly, the salaries were rising immensely in China. So they are up 16-fold in the last 20 years, which made it from a cheap production country to a very expensive production country. And of course, those salaries will rise more if the population ages. That's something that is very normal. If you remove people from the workforce, the people who are left get more expensive. So there's a lot of issues with China currently. And that's why companies are, of course, trying to leave. And there are problems with leaving. And I want to go towards the problems too. So if you want to leave a country, if you have a manufacturing facility somewhere and you want to relocate it, let's say you want to go from China to Vietnam, which is something that happens quite often, then you need to rebuild the factory. So you need to have a new factory there. You need to have a new building, either rent one or build one. You can't take your workforce with you, so you need to train all the workers in Vietnam on the machines, in the processes, on the products. And of course, you have to find the workers. Currently, it's very hard to find people in every country. So you need to have a new factory built somewhere, which makes it very expensive. So moving away from China, even if you see the problems, is an expensive move. And after you have all these ideas of how to rebuild the factory, you have one major problem, which is you have machines in China producing stuff, and you want to move these machines to another country producing the same stuff. And China might not like that. So there can be export restrictions or limitations on exporting your production facility to another country. So China might say, you can leave, but you need to leave your stuff with us, which is something that might also happen. So China is definitely not happy if you try to leave the country and produce somewhere else. And they will make it as hard as possible for you to do so. So that is something to keep in mind. It is very hard for companies to leave China, but it's very important to diversify their portfolio and diversify their production facilities and also their supply chains, and also something called nearshoring. So maybe taking it to the country of origin. So for Nike, for example, producing in the US more and in Europe, so not too much in Asia. That might also be something that can come in the future, especially if production lines become less personnel intensive. So if you need to hire less people, the machine costs in country A or B are basically the same. And if you save the shipping costs, it's cheaper to nearshore stuff. So China is on a way that is going down from my perspective. It's currently not a good investment. So you shouldn't, or companies don't invest their money in China. They retract their money, they retract their investments. They try to leave, but they can't probably. I think if it would be easier to leave, more companies would have done this step already. I also see that US companies are more likely to do that, and also companies from Korea, South Korea, are more likely to do that than the European ones. So for the German ones, I don't see that step too much, only for the ones producing clothes like Adidas and Puma. But the other ones are still very focused on China. When you look at the German car manufacturers, they are not moving from China currently, but they might in the future because the market is shrinking. I mean, if the population is shrinking, the market is shrinking, and there's a lot of political instability and risk. So that is my thoughts on China. That's also my thoughts on relocating factories. If you have any thoughts, any opinion, feel free to drop them in the comments. If you liked the video, give it a like, and if you like the channel, give it a subscribe. Thanks all, and have a good day. Bye.